from previous sessions? Any question from previous sessions?
Not from me, teacher. I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, very good. So we move to another module. The next one is module number 4. We will look at to the consumer and producer surplus. Okay. Give me a second. I share you my screen. Oh yeah, I can give me a second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, like
Yes, teacher.
Very good thing. So for this module number 4, we will focus on the consumer and producer surplus. Okay. So that is the meaning of consumer surplus. Consumer surplus and the demand curve start with this, and that is the meaning of consumer surplus. Consumer surplus, we defined it as the difference between market price and what consumer would be willing to pay. Okay. Consumer surplus refer to the difference between the market price and what consumer would be willing to pay. A consumer willingness to pay for a good is a maximum price at which he or she would buy that good. Okay, I think you already learned this. Consumer willingness to pay for the good is the maximum price at which he or she would buy that good. And consumer surplus can also be stated as this one. You just take the consumer willingness to pay minus the price paid. Or you can look at the area below the demand curve, but about the price. But about price, like I tried it to you several times already. Here there is the demand side, that is the supply side, and this demand side or this demand curve we define it as the willingness and the affordabilities of the buyer who could afford it, right? So some people who are willing to pay, or some people who are willing to pay higher price than price equilibriums, they will gain from this, right? For example, I'm willing to pay $5 for my cup of coffee, but when I go to the coffee store, I just pay only $2.5. So I gained $2.5. Okay, for this concept. So the consumer surplus, you also can illustrate within this triangle, this area. Okay. You see that? So this is the consumer surplus. This is equilibrium right about here, like the consumer surplus. You want to calculate it? It's very simple. I will go to the down side first, and then I will tell you how to calculate it also. So this one, we suppose that consumer surplus, if the price used textbook is $30. Okay, we suppose that the potential buyer, we have these guys, our potential buyer. We have the Alicia, we have Brad, we have Claudia, we have Darwin, and we have Edwina. And that is the willingness to pay. Alicia, she willing to pay 59 US dollar. Brad, 45. Claudia, 35, Darwin, 25, and Edwina, 10 US dollars. And the price that they are going to pay is 30 US dollar, or you can call this one as the equilibrium price. Okay. So you look at the consumer surplus, Alicia, we against 29 US dollar, right? I am willing to pay at this amount, or she willing to pay at this amount, but actually she paid at this amount only. Similar thing to Brad, he is willing to pay at this amount, but actually he just paid at this amount, and then he gained with this one. Claudia also the same, this amount. So when you total the gain of individuals surplus here, it's gonna come to total surplus here. Is that clear?
Yes,
Hello. Okay, maybe it's very easy. So you also can look at to the total consumer surplus in the graph here, okay? This one is 59 US dollar for Alicia, one textbook. Brad, another one textbook, 45, and another one is Claudia, 35, and another one is Doreen, Doreen, there should be 35 here, cannot buy it, and even that there should be 10 here, cannot buy it too. So what I can say right now, if you compute in this area called here consumer surplus, see that this straight area here, it's like clear. And then if you look at to this one also the same law, it's gonna be all right. So this one is just look at to the area here. You also can calculate it by using this triangle. Consumer surplus is the area beneath the demand curve and about the price. Okay, so that is the price of the iPad. This is another example. So that is the triangle, right? The area of triangle, or you can call it the surface of triangle. That is the formula to calculate it. You understand how to calculate the area of triangle or the surface of triangle? That is 1/2 time base time h, right? I suppose that this is the price of the iPads, and the market price is 500 US dollars, and this is the 1 millionth. Okay. Yep. And then when you want to calculate that, you just take. So, tell you to calculate this area. Okay. Yep. Let me see. Here, I think you can look at this. This one is the host. Yeah. Oops. Why not? Maybe here. Okay, this launched, and this is the best. Okay, you just calculate this, and then you divide it by 1/2. Yeah. And that is the producer surplus. But this one is very simple because because we realize that, or we make our assumption by the linear, okay, the linear relationship. But in the real practice, I already discussed to you, the main curve is not a linear, it is non-linear here, right? And that is another one is the supply curve, also non-linear. There's equilibrium here. Oh, sorry. So in the complex world, this one is not easy like calculating the area of triangle. This one is not a triangle, right? So what we can do with this is using the integral here. This one is from 0. I suppose that this one is QE, the quantity equilibrium, or you can call it Q star. This one is the price equilibrium. Sorry, I call it PE. And then if you would like to calculate the consumer surplus, because the integral has been used for calculating the function, the surface of the functions, you just take the let me see. Okay, yep. You just take all this here. Just take all this surface first. And then you need to minus this area, right? In order to calculate the area that I highlighted in the pink ones. You need to minus this area. So what you are going to do is that you are going to take the integral from 0 to here, QE. And then you take the, this is the domain curve, the domain functions. You take the integral of the domain functions. dq, that is the variable. We take q as the variable, and then dq. Okay, integral of this one, the function of this one. Okay, and then you need to minus this area. This one area is the rectangular, so minus the surface of rectangular is PE minus QE. You need to recall your understanding in terms of the integral functions. For example, I have the functions. I have the fx functions. Okay. I suppose that this one is fx. This one is x. And this one is y. Y mean y is equal to fx, right? And then I will have to calculate this area. I mean this set area. And that is from A to B. I suppose that this one is A, that is the value A, and that is the value B. So in order to calculate this area, I need to use the integrals from A to B. Okay. Of this one, fx, of these functions. You remember of the integral calculations? Dx. Okay, that is how we calculate the surface of the function. Similar things in order to calculate this area. We need to calculate all this here first, and then we need to minus this. But this one is the what I just drawn it for you is just the complicated world. But in the simple worlds, it's this area, the triangle here. Okay. Yep. Is that all right?
Excuse me, teacher, can you rewrite the formula of consumer surplus again, like the DQ? I cannot understand what you're writing there.
Okay, I don't know how I can write it in the easy way. So this one, okay, I write it here, okay, for you. Consumer surplus, CS, consumer surplus equals to, we're taking the integral from 0 here to QE, okay, QE the quantity equilibrium. Okay, is that clear? And then dq here is the functions or the demand equations. Here, we can draw this because this one is the function, right? This one is the equation, but this one is non-linear equations, not linear like this. If linear, it is like a line, see that? But this is the curve like this. So that is the dq. I don't know, maybe they are the powers of 2 or the natures over something like that. dq. dq here actually we just do the integral of these equations and then with respect to the q variables, and then we minus price equilibrium. times quantity equilibrium. Why we need to minus this? Because this is the area here, okay? And we just will have to calculate that area about here. We don't want to take this. That's why we need to minus this. Okay, but this integral here is going to be this surface here, the pink surface here. Okay.
Yeah, teacher, thank you.
Okay, but like I discussed to you, this one is for the complex world. Okay, when you study a little bit further, you will see this complex world. It is not quite simple like calculating the surface of triangle like this. The coordinate or the main curve is not a linear, it's non-linear. But in our study, we make it simple. That's why we make our assumption by the main curve is the linear, right? Okay. So I move to the next slide. So this one is the producer surplus. It also the same concept to the consumer surplus. Producer surplus, we define this as the difference between the market price and the price at which firms are willing to supply the products. Okay. Producer surplus, we refer to the difference between market price and the price at which firms are willing to supply the products. Okay. An individual producer surplus is the net gains to a seller from selling good, right? Selling a good. I think this one quite similar to producer surplus, like what you have a consumer surplus, like what you have seen, okay? But just this one at the supply side, not the demand side. So I think nothing different from the previous discussion for you, okay? Yeah. So it's similar thing. The total producer surplus in the market is the sum of individual producer surpluses of all the seller of the goods. Okay, and that is we also look at the same thing. The textbook is $30, and we suppose that these are the potential seller. We have Andrew, we have Betty, we have Carlos, we have Dana, we have Algebert. Sorry if I pronounced their name incorrectly. Okay, and that is their cost by 15, 35, 35, and 45 US dollars. And then the price they receive 30 US dollar. So Andrew willing to pay or willing to sell at the cost of at the price of US dollars, but he received 30, so he received surplus 25, and Betty 15, and Carlos 5. Okay, and you make the total, you make the summation, you receive 45 US dollar here. Okay, yep. And that is the way the same thing, that is the supply side, and that is the market price. So then you can calculate this triangle, this area of the triangle, that is the consumer surplus here. Okay, and this is the equilibrium. Total surplus means the combination between consumer surplus and producer surplus. Okay, yeah. You just plus this together, and then you can come up with the total surplus, or you can call it a social welfare, or some textbook they call it well, economic being. They are the same. Okay, so I think we end with the module number 4. Any question for that? If you wanted to calculate it into a very complicated way, also possible. I mean, for the producer surplus here, I just draw it for you again. This is the main curve. It is the cola, and this is the supply curve, and this is the equilibrium. So what you wish to calculate, this area, right? And let me this one. You wish to calculate this area here, the green area here, right? This one is the producer surplus, correct? Hello. Are you with me? Very good, thanks. So in order to calculate that, you might look at this rectangular first, because it's the supply curve. We need to look at the supply first, okay? This is the function here. So we may calculate this area, this rectangular first, and then we may end up minus this area, and then we will remain this area, right? So our formula for the producer surplus is here. We also use graph because this one is the function. We are calculating the surface or the area function. But this one, we take this area first. We take this rectangular first. So that is PE times QE. And then we minus this amount. Okay, this one is from 0 to the same. Oops, sorry, to QE here. Equilibrium quantity, and this one is apply equilibrium here. So what we can do is integrate from 0 to QE. This one is the supply side, SQ. AQ. Okay, yeah, so that is the formula of the producer surplus. So we can have this area, right? The green ones that I just highlighted for you. So far, so good.
Yes, lecturer.
Very good, thanks. If you don't have any questions, I may move to another module. Okay. Yep. I may move to the introduction to international trade module. Let me share you my screens. Can you see my screens now? Hello.
Yes, like.
Very good thing. So this one is the introduction to international trade. We just look at the introduction first, okay? Why the country do the trade? I think I discussed to you in the principle of economics already. To trade to make everyone better. So why country trade? These are the answer for you. Trade provide consumer with more choices, varieties, of course. Since we are facing the limited resources, or we call it the scarce resources. We cannot produce everything that you are consuming. For example, right now you are using laptops, right? Right now you're also using the light. Right now you're also using the tables or dashed, I don't know. Right now you're also using some other materials that are not produced domestically. So that's why trade, if we don't open our economy to the other country, or the rest of the world, we might not be able to use our laptop. For example, we import the laptop from US. If you are using Lenovo or you are using Asus, you import from China, you are using Dales, it's also import from China or some possibly. So those kind of things happen because of trade. See that? Country do the trade and then the consumer will have more choices. Okay? And also when you do the trade, the country could also realize the economy of scale is realized. You know the term economic of scales?
Not really, like.
The situation of economy of scale refer to a situation where where that the firm increased their production and then the average total cost decreased. I don't know how we call it in English, but let me draw. Actually, I don't know how to make it in a simple way, but let me introduce you a little bit here. This is your average total cost in the long run, okay? Yep. And when you increase your production here, this one your average total cost la in the long run. So when you increase the numbers of your production, you realize the decreasing of your cost. This one is your average total cost here. So when you are increasing the numbers of your production and then you realize the lower average total cost, that is called the economy of scale conditions, okay? But when you increase further, there will be the stagnation period, or you can call it the constant economy of scale. This one is in the term of this one is a decreasing return to scale. That is the meaning, and this is the constant return to scale. But when you increase more production up to here, you increase more productions, meaning to say that you are going to have the increasing return to scale. Decreasing return to scale, it is the property of economy of scale, okay? This one is decreasing return to scale. Decreasing. Oh yeah. It's very hard for me to write it here. That is decreasing returns to scale. Okay, yeah, decreasing return to scale. And I did property of economy of scale. So again, the economy of scale we refer to a situation when the firms increase their production and then they realize the average total cost decreased. Okay. Yeah. That's what I can tell you right now. So when you produce more, you also realize those kind of things. For example, you may allocate your resources to produce only one particular good, and then your worker or your labor are more specialized. So that's why you can realize the economy of scale. And also the trade can give firm access to the large world market. This one also true. When you open to trade, you will have a bigger or larger market segmentation, correct? Or not market segmentation, I would say the market size. It's not yet yours, but it's still very large, or the market size become bigger, okay? That's why we are trying to connect with the India, trying to connect with China, because those kind of those countries are very high populations that can sell our products. Also, US very big one. European Union also the same. Yeah, and it also foster more competitions, which have to take the price down and quality up. Quality up. You believe this? That is the empirical proof. Also, I believed. When you do the trade, there will be some more competitive products, right? Yeah, and then in order to compete with your competitor, you need to improve your efficiency. That's why the competition can bring the lower price and higher quality of your products. Okay, is that clear? What is the gain from trade? So far so good. Why can't you trade? Hello.
Yes, teacher. Yes.
Very good then. So this is the gain from trade, okay? So they are gain from trade. That they are gain from trade is probably the most important insight in the international economics. Yes, we gain from trade. Like I gave you an example in terms of the rancher and farmer. Yep. And countries selling goods and services to each other almost always generate mutual benefit. Yeah. This case, we can have the answer here. When a buyer and seller engage in the voluntary transaction, both can be better out. You need to remember, gain from trade here normally it happen because of the free trade, okay? Voluntary transactions, if there is some government restrictions that you are going to see some other government policy, or you can call it a trade barrier letters. Yeah, can I just post our class here? I don't think I can go further because I already feel a little bit over for you. Can we just stop it here first and then we will resume by next week?
Yes, lecturer.
Hello.
Sure, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Hello. Can you just come again, please?
Yes, lecturer.
Okay, very good.
Can you hear us, teacher?
Yes, yes, of course. At the moment, my internet connection might be not working well. What I really wish you to do for the couple day after this, you may refer to the textbook that I already drop it to you, I believed, and then just scan through the materials, and then if you still have any concern, just please let me know, okay? Okay?
Yes, got it.
Yes, lecturer.
Okay, very good then, very good then. Have a nice evening. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Teacher, excuse me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.